So in order to participate in the AI revolution and to use AI as a support for platform businesses, companies need new sources of data. And what's really remarkable about this is you and I are the manufacturers of this data. Just take a look at how much data is generated in 60 seconds on the internet. And this is all activities that we generate ourselves. What movies we watch, what tweets we send, what photos we Instagram, who and what we talk about on Messenger, our connections on LinkedIn, the music we listen to on Spotify. Our lives now happen online and on our phones, and all of those activities create data. And that data is incredibly valuable for the companies that collect it and have permission to use it. And they use the data both to support the business models in the cases where we're not paying for the service, but also they use the data to make the service better, to better suit us and the activities that we're participating in every day. What's key here is the growth of alternative data. So traditional data, financial reporting, tends to be around hard physical assets and services. So we track labor costs and we track inventory, we track plant, property, and equipment. What we do not track as well are the products of our mind and our relationships. So although people count patents, what we don't do is sort of value R&D well, we don't value ideas, and we don't value our relationships and networks. But when you look at the components of the S&P market value, there has been an enormous shift over the past 50 years. So, in 1975, traditional data was about 85% of market value, and today it's completely flipped. And alternative data, intangible assets, are what make up the bulk of companies' value. In order to participate, you need to have information, you need to have data in the alternative data space. So data is becoming very rich. We have all these traditional data sources that we've measured for 40 or 50 years. GAAP accounting has driven what's included, and it's been based on what businesses were doing, which is mostly manufacturing and selling stuff. And how are they financing that? The new data sources are all around people, technology, and networks. Now, many companies are trying to enter the AI space focused on traditional data, and they're playing with the exact same data sets that everybody else is, and that's not a winning strategy. The companies that are really creating something new and beneficial are finding new data sets around people, right? Perhaps benefits, workforce agility, the sentiment of customers and employees, technology, IP creation, software, and networks, the number of relationships and shared value. And these data sources are what's creating a difference for platform companies today. Luckily, there are many new sources of data. The amount of big data created by the world is growing exponentially, and there's all these different places that we can look for data. So the baseline, of course, is corporate data, the things that companies report to the SEC regularly and that are essentially standardized. But on top of that, we're growing all these new sources, the data from human beings, right, which we can gather and analyze, the data from our activities online and our interactions with websites and marketplaces, and also data from real-world sensors, the Internet of Things. All of those pieces are combining to create this wealth of new data that companies are using to feed into artificial intelligence. We now have zettabytes of data, just an enormous amount of data, and it's only growing. Now, most of this data is currently unstructured, and what that does is it poses a challenge to companies that want to use it. And that's why the data process is really the most rigorous and difficult part of the whole process of creating artificial intelligence. Most of the energy goes into finding, structuring, and cleaning data. Once you have great data, the great ML part is easy. So in order to participate in this market and to participate in machine learning, companies need to invest in the creation and maintenance of alternative data. Now, what's great is that most organizations have this data available to them. They just haven't been tracking it and managing it in an active way.